George Blumenthal,
Here.
Linda Boxer, Elena Flowers,
Present.
Judy Gasson,
Here.
Steve Julesgaard,
Here.
Jim Kovach,
Here.
Linda Malkus,
Here.
Adriana Padilla, Jonathan Thomas,
Here.
Art Torres,
Here.
Christina Vori.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Wonderful. So I'd like to start out and update everyone. Thank you for your participation in the Governance Subcommittee. We have quite a bit going on still. The board had previously approved an annual process for performance appraisal for the president, the chair, and the vice chair. And so the purpose of today's meeting is to discuss the process for the performance evaluation for the president. Since the chair and the vice chair are terming out in December, we've decided that it wouldn't really be a good use of anyone's time to do a performance evaluation this year, but going forward, that would be the plan. Now, the meeting that was originally on May 26th has been canceled. And so whatever recommendation we make today will go to the board in June for consideration by the full board. And then the process would begin hopefully shortly thereafter. The evaluations will be collated and then presented first to this committee and then to the members of the board. We have another meeting on May 23rd this month, and that's the meeting where we will start the discussion of the roles and responsibilities for the new chair and the new vice chair. And because we expect that to be, quite a robust conversation, we have scheduled a second meeting, which is on June 22nd before the next board meeting, so that we can all have a chance to think about the data that have come in and what our own thoughts are, and then hopefully come to a consensus, which we can then present to the board in June. So these are the activities that are happening in the next month. Does anybody have any questions about any of these activities? Not seeing any hands. So you've had a chance. First of all, I want to thank Tammy Buettner, who is the consultant that has assisted with putting together the performance review. It's pretty much the same as last year with a few tweaks here and there, and it's been cleaned up. And I think it's a little bit easier to get through. So one set of reviews will go to the board and one set will go to the leadership team, and we will proceed from there. So while Marianne has it up on the screen, is there any particular page or question that anybody would like to take a look at? As I said, it's pretty much the same as last year with a few minor tweaks, and it's cleaned up and it's tidier and it offers more opportunities for comments. I don't see any hands. Oh, there, JT.
Yeah, Judy, I just, having looked at it, I think it looks great. It apologize for the cat on the video here.
I love to see your cat.
Well, if it's not one, it's another. In any event, no, I think it looks really good. I don't have any suggestions.
Oh, thank you so much, JT. Anyone else?
No, just a lot of good hard work, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Art.
Steve has his hand raised, Judy.
Oh, I'm sorry, Steve.
So Judy, having been involved in this in the past, I thank you so much for the hard work on this, because I know what it's like to do this. So great job, and an improvement for sure.
Thank you, Steve. And I have valued your partnership over these years. George, I see you have your hand up. George, you're on.
Yes,
there you
yeah,
go.
no, I see it. Thank you. Yeah, I think I want to agree with everything that's been said. I think this took a lot of work. I think it's a really good document. The question that it's really a question about how the results of this will be used. I mean, presumably the results of these surveys go to the board, but presumably also the chair of the board and the vice chair of the board deliver the overall board's recommendations with regard to these evaluations. And I just want to clarify that that is indeed the case. I also want to raise the question about the degree of interaction between different board members and the chief executive officer. Some of us will have had much deeper and closer interactions than others, and it might be useful to have that also noted when we collect these reviews.
You know, that's a very interesting point. And some of the board members are also quite new, and so they wouldn't really have had the chance to have a lot of interaction with the president. Typically, what we do is that the chair and possibly the vice chair of this committee, along with the chair of the board, meet with the president and the CEO to discuss the outcome of the performance evaluation. And if I'm mistaken about that, someone please correct me, Maria or Kevin.
No, that is the process that was brought to the board for consideration along with the mission statement of this subcommittee last year.
Right. So, so George, would you like to propose that we add a sentence somewhere either in the beginning or the end to allow people the opportunity to say they can only comment on certain aspects because of their limited interaction, something along those lines?
I think that would be helpful, and it might be more fair in the long run when we evaluate them to have some assessment of how familiar each board member feels that they are. So yes, I would propose that.
Are there any comments on George's proposal?
Well, I'm unclear as to how many contacts and the nature of which George would like to know about. For example, JT and I connect with the president and CEO almost daily on issues. Do we make a note of that or just be silent?
Well, I would say you should definitely make a note of that, but in the case of you and JT, it's kind of obvious. For most of the rest of the board, it might not be so obvious, even to you as the vice chair of the board, how frequently I or some other member of the board interact. So, so I think that would be useful information when we collectively try to assess, what these evaluations mean. For example, a strongly positive evaluation from the people who interact most strongly with the president, I think will carry a lot more weight than an evaluation from somebody who interacts only, for example, at board meetings.
Steve.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with George. I think it's an excellent point. And I think there must be a way that people can just make a note somewhere, whether at the beginning of the evaluation or somewhere along the way, of just describe a bit the interaction that they've had with, in this case, Maria, over the past year, in order to be able to form their opinions.
Okay, thank you, Steve. That's helpful. And in my mind, it's particularly relevant to people who are really new on the board and maybe haven't really had an opportunity to interact very frequently or at very much depth with the president and with Maria.
Absolutely.
Are other hands raised to comment on this? Christina.
Yes, Christina.
So I think in some evaluation forms, in every single spot where you numerically are assessing the person, there's also an option saying that unable to evaluate. That could be the other way, and then reason, for example, does not interact with the person in this capacity. That could be another way of doing it if we want to do that, but I don't know if that then results sort of quite a few assessments where there is no real adjectives involved. Don't know which one is better. Disclose in the beginning how well you know, or have it as an option that, for example, cannot assess whatever leadership or culture or whatever because I don't have enough information on it.
Marianne, thank you, Christina. Marianne, will you scroll down a little bit to the options for voting here? Yes. Okay, we have a not applicable, but we don't have unable to evaluate or unable to assess. Steve.
Yeah, kind of in line with what Christina was saying, but something slightly different is perhaps to have at the very beginning, the interactions with Maria. So the most obvious one is at ICOC meetings or ARS meetings. And then there could be another box of personal interactions outside of that, and approximate number during the past year or something like that, to give an idea of sort of the non-meeting related interactions that members might have. So I'm trying to find a more quantitative way of doing this. For JT and Art, it's kind of, it approximates infinity, but some of us may have more frequent interactions offline with Maria than just through the meetings.
Okay, other hands? Okay, so here's one thought. Christina and I can go back to our consultant. And Tammy, are you on the Zoom?
She is.
She is.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Tammy.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all.
There you are.
I'm happy we can go ahead and add something at the top to kind of qualify how long or how often each one of you talk with Maria. And then we can also change the definition on not applicable to make it not only, really, we can just expand the definition so that if someone feels like they don't have enough information, that they can go ahead and just put NA. We just hope that people don't put that because it's easier than having to rate. We want to make sure everyone is rating, between the 5 and the 1. Sometimes when you have that as an option, people put that in because they just don't want to necessarily make a decision on the rating. So hopefully people won't do that and we'll use it the right way. Does that work for everyone?
I think that's a great idea. Anybody else have thoughts? I'm not seeing any hands raised. So, Steve?
No, I just gave it a thumbs up.
Oh, you gave it a thumbs up. Okay. You're so small on my screen. I'm trying to see what you're doing over there. Okay. So Tammy will come up with some language, both to assess the amount of interaction people have had and also to expand the definition of NA. I think this group of people will be pretty responsible, Tammy. I hear what you're saying and I appreciate it, but I think people will be pretty responsible. So if there's no other comments or questions, I would like to request a motion at this time to go forward with the performance evaluation with the modifications that we have just discussed.
So moved.
So moved.
Okay, George and Art, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Thank you very much. At this point in time, is there any further discussion from the members of the subcommittee? Hearing none, Maria, are there any hands raised from the public?
No, there are no members of the public.
In that case, Maria, would you call the roll on the motion
Yes.
that's on the table, please? Thank you.
Dan Bernal,
Aye.
George Blumenthal. Oh,
Yes.
thanks, Dan. Yes, George Blumenthal, thank you. Elena Flowers,
Yes.
Judy Gasson,
Yes.
Steve Julesgard,
Yes.
Jim Kovach,
Yes.
Linda Malkus,
Yes.
Jonathan Thomas,
Yes.
Art Torres,
Aye.
Christina Vori.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Wonderful. Thank you all very much. Is there any other matters, any questions, comments, or concerns that anybody would like to raise before we adjourn today's meeting?
Excellent meeting.
Thank you all for taking the time to participate in the process. We really appreciate it. And I'm going
Thank
to
you,
give you
Madam
back
Chair.
40 minutes of your day.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Judy.
everyone.